The gentleman from Texas is recognized.
I thank the chairman. I won't add too much other than just a couple clarifying points. I actually generally agree with my friend from Kentucky, even though we disagreed last week on the position on the 6-month spending in the CR with the SAVE Act attached. But a couple clarifying points. I would support the full year CR. I think that would be a better approach. I agree. However, I do not believe it would trigger the 1%. It would trigger FY25 caps. I believe it would kick in place the FY25 caps. I don't know if the chairman agrees with that as the rough understanding, just for the record. I think that's correct. Is that right, Mr. Cole?
I think so.
Yeah. And then just to underscore, I think the point the gentleman from Kentucky made that I agree with, right? It was 2 years ago this coming December when we got a $1.7 trillion omnibus bill. Again, in that rough, I don't remember the exact date, but it would have been, December 22nd or 3rd or something, right before Christmas, if I remember correctly. And so that is, yes, the way things tend to be done. I think and I have very strong opposition to that, and have, been fairly forceful in my opposition to some of the senators that were a part of that effort and have voted against legislation that they've offered and so forth. Along those lines, because of how frustrating it was of what occurred in December of 22, which was, as noted, is the way we tend to do things. I would say this, that we had, last week, we did have a measure before us that would have gotten us past that date, that would have gotten us into the new year with a new Congress and a new president, and would have given us the opportunity to avoid the Christmas time frame, and would have enabled us to deal with the citizen voting issue. I still believe that was the right play, and the inevitability of ending up where we are was a self-fulfilling prophecy of killing a different approach a week ago. And so here we are, and we will now have a spending bill that will end in December. And on that point, I do agree with my friend from Kentucky, that is not where we should end up. And yes, we should do the appropriations bills. I would note we've passed 5 appropriations bills. There's been no appropriations bills passed out of the Senate. We could start with those 5. We could work on a handful of others. But we're getting no support on the other side of the Capitol. So hopefully we will work individual bills and/or do something like the gentleman said about a CR into or through next year, rather than a crazy, massive omnibus train, which is the inevitability of doing something right before Christmas, typically in this town, which I will strongly oppose, and will oppose this legislation on the floor as a result. I yield back.
Chair, thanks, the gentleman. Gentleman yields back. The gentleman from Georgia is recognized for question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would